I keep wanting to say Lions. It's
Mavericks.
Grand Prairie.
Grand Prairie Mavericks.
Yeah.
I'm going to go live here, guys.
Oh, I'm going to move your mic here. Yeah, I'll take the lead here. And, yeah, just because you're the real flow guy. Pun intended. It's gonna be a good time, man. I promise you. All right. You make me feel bad. I should have probably brought my glasses. To read this stuff? Oh. If you need them to read names, I'll loan them. I have hype. Okay. Are we set, sir? Are we set? Hello and welcome. Little change of venue here at Boswell High School Stadium and Pioneer Stadium as we have the Mavericks of Grand Prairie going against Austin Blacks, and the Blacks moving the ball right now as they get toward the midway point as we just had kickoff here in this D3 final. Thank you for joining us here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube stream. This is the Mavericks moving it back across the grain, getting some nice moves until he's going to be brought down here, and just barely. Justin Simmons, the smash alongside Larry Monks.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Hey, thanks Justin. I'm Larry Monks, glad to be here with you. And this is a really good D3 match that we have here between Grand Prairie and the third division side of the Austin Blacks. You know, the Blacks have a D1 team, they have a D2 team, and a D3 team. That's just how many guys they have playing for them.
Well, it's a very popular sport in the Austin area, and they have the lineage as well, Larry, for many years of not just the experience, but also the legacy of success.
Absolutely. And so right now we see that Grand Prairie was taken to touch. We're going to have our first line out of the game. It will be thrown in by the Austin Blacks. That's number 2 there from Austin. The hooker, number 2, almost always takes the throw in. So anyway, guys, we welcome you here, and we're about to see the first line out of the game.
So Cron's going to be throwing this in right down the channel. Nicely taken. Ooh, and it was a smart move.
That was outstanding. He just kicked it right there. And you know what's funny is that was a forward who kicked the ball. That's kind of unheard of.
Not the position, not necessarily known for their use of their feet, but this one returned now, coming back the other way, got some room, now working back across, being dragged down from behind, still back up on their feet. So Grand Prairie can continue the advance. Now the ruck has formed. They're going to look to get this high visibility ball out here towards the
I like
wide
that
side.
they give it right to their prop, and man, he just took it and ran. You know what it looks like is going on here, Justin, is that, well, we have a penalty, unfortunately, and it's a penalty against the Blacks, but I like what Grand Prairie is doing here, and it appears to me that they're going to try to crash or bang with their forward several times, but right now they're going ahead and going for post here, so they're going to go for 3.
Yeah, try and take the points out here early in the first half of play at Pioneer Stadium. Grand Prairie dressed in the purple, green, and white striped kit, the white shorts. As for the Blacks, just like their namesake, dressed in the all-black attire. They'll be going from right to left. The Mavericks going from left to right.
We have number 12 from Grand Prairie going for the penalty kick here, and if he makes it, that's 3 points. First team to score here in this first playoff match, the Texas Rugby Union Championships, Division III division.
Wasikowski lining up this kick, trying to give his team the early lead towards the post.
And it's no good.
And just off the mark, This game will remain tied at 0-0. It was a good advancement by the Mavericks. They had to play a little bit back on the defense, able to get the ball back down the pitch.
And you know what I really liked about what they did? And of course, now we're going to do the 22 dropout because it was missed. And so Austin is kicking behind the 22. But what I really liked about Grand Prairie is just the way they were crashing forward, trying to bring in the defense of the Austin Blacks. And if they kept on going, I have a feeling that it would have worked. So it's going to be fun to watch Grand Prairie at this point from now on. So let's see what happens from here.
Yeah, we'll see if they continue with that tactic. Right now, the ruck is formed for the Blacks. Let's see if they can muster some offensive attacks themselves. And quickly, they get the ball shoveled out toward the far side of the pitch. Again, that change of venue here, having to play on the turf. It's not a hot day here in Fort Worth, but that turf, I can tell you already, is starting to heat up as the sun continues to pound down.
You know, sorry about that, Justin. Another problem that we have here is that some of the forwards are wearing really large, knobby cleats. They're boots. And the thing is, they didn't plan for this. And so some of them were telling me because of the turf that they could stop very quickly. And so that just brings up another concern for them.
Yeah, it's always, and you make a great point there, Larry. It's always a little different when you're playing on the synthetic as opposed to the natural stuff.
Okay, we got a penalty right here, and it looks like that the Austin Blacks are probably going to kick to touch. In fact, you can tell right away that's exactly what's happening. So they're going to move the ball downfield, and then they'll have the throw-in at the line-out.
If everything goes to plan.
You're right, if everything goes to plan.
Yeah, I mean, we've already been a part of it here, and we're glad that everybody was working with us. And, of course, our great production crew here able to get everything set up, even with the change of venue. The flooding overnight over at the originally planned venue. And we'll see how everything shapes up for the championships tomorrow. We don't know exactly where we might be just yet, but we're glad that you're here with us here on the YouTube channel for the Texas Rugby Union, alongside myself and Larry Monks. And as we get ready for this line out, this one belonging to the Blacks after they kicked for touch.
I like this. The Blacks are waiting, okay, because you don't know. They're kind of making Grand Prairie guess as to how many guys are going to join the lineup. But anyway, let's see. Okay, so Austin gets the ball.
No, it doesn't work out for Austin. It was actually turned over, and now Grand Prairie now coming back on the other side. Good defense, though, by the Blacks, as it was David Pena, the loose head prop there, to make the tackle. Shoveled out quickly, and again trying to crash through. When you can hear the clack from there, but the referee's going to call that unsafe tackle, and now a kick. So let's see. Well, no, the referee's not going to.
There was a little bit of a scuffle down there between one of the Blacks and one of the Grand Prairie players. The referee's calling timeout. So we have official timeout right now. He's talking with his AR. And I'm sure we're going to bring the captains in, and a decision will be made here real soon.
Yeah, we're going to see exactly what has transpired here. Wondering if there's going to be a card presented. One of the things you don't see in rugby too often is a lack of discipline, especially towards the officials.
All right, so we're taking a good look here, seeing what's happening. All right, no card issued, but it is 10 meters back. We're going to have to move down. We got a penalty going.
Well, a quick decision made by this crew. And of course, the championships on the line. Trying to be the best team in the conference. The passions are going to get heated.
Hey, and this is Grand Prairie's first throw-in at a line-out. So let's see what they do here. They're not too far away. It looks like they're, well, actually, you know what? It's not as well as they'd like. Looks like they're right there just beyond the center.
Just past the midway point. They go with the short throw right to the front. And like you mentioned before, it looks like they want to just keep it with their forward pack. And it says crushing hits.
A bulldoze crush.
Zach Triplett for the Blacks.
Got him down.
Well taken hit, and this actually bounced in play on its way into touch. So the line out will come from the spot.
And it's going to be the Blacks throwing at the line out.
What a hit for Zach Triplett. And I'm sure that one's definitely going to make the highlight reel at the end of the weekend.
But he got up, and he got back into play. You know, that's the one thing about rugby players is that if you get hit really hard, you're not going to show it because you got to play as long as you can because once you come out, you don't come back in.
Well, of course, you can't sell it. You know, the other team is looking for some weakness after making a big hit like that, and the mental toughness of the game is just as strong as the physical toughness needed to perform well. And the Blacks, with their unique walk up to their lineout, they were unsuccessful last time. This time they were able to get it nice and down.
Man, look at that. They're really trying to maul it out, but they didn't push too far in this maul.
No, it's going to be a quick kick taken by Triplett, just trying to make up some meters and pin down Grand Prairie. And it does go into touch, so this lineout will belong to Grand Prairie right from the spot.
You know, it looked like number 15 there, the fullback from Grand Prairie. He was trying to do a quick throw-in, but the Blacks player was there to mark it. And so now we're going to have the lineout, Grand Prairie throw-in. So let's see what happens here. Oh, look at this. Here we go with the four-man lineout. Something a little different.
Larson will send this in, wearing the 7 here. And right above the jump, it's still...
Nice pass, nice offload quickly.
Still comes out well. But the defense from the Blacks, they are able to convene on the ball rather quickly. That ruck form still in favor of the Mavericks of Grand Prairie. And again, just putting it into touch, but it went out on the fly. So this ball's coming back from where it was kicked. It's going to be a good opportunity for the Blacks. They're not too far from the try line.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see what the Blacks do at this location. Well, actually, you know what? It looked like it was kicked right in front of the 22. It's going back to where? Oh, that's too bad for the Blacks.
Yes. Unfortunate there.
Oh, man.
This lineup, they haven't had the best of success. This time keeping it short. And now they're going to look to swing this wide. They've got some terrific speed out there. Trying to use the dummy.
Nice offload right there. Look at that. Scissor.
Oh, the fend.
Oh, man. Yeah, he's not going to take it from him.
Charles Davison just plowing right through would-be tacklers. This ball continues to move forward for the Blacks as it's picked up by Triplett. He'll go down. Now the scrum half is already in the ruck, so it's just going to be a pick and go for Miles Hernandez.
Oh, let's see what's going on here. We got penalty to Grand Prairie. Playing the ball in the ruck. All right, that's too bad. Yeah, that's too bad for the Blacks.
Yeah, it looks like Austin so far, Larry, they've been creating some really good momentum, but when it comes to getting towards the opposing 22, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot, so to speak.
Yeah, that's too bad for him, too, because if they could have kept that drive up a little bit longer, I think it would have been great. Well, anyway, Grand Prairie kicks to touch, so they'll have the throw in.
And this has just been a game of position so far, as neither team has really threatened the try line. We did have that missed penalty early on in the game on the conversion attempt, on the kick attempt from penalty, just inside the 22 for Grand Prairie, but that's about the closest we've had to a scoring moment. This ball was wobbling from the throw, and it's picked up by Seth Saunders for the Blacks.
You know, I wonder if the referee was in a different position, if he would have caught the ball not being thrown in straight. But I tell you what, it benefited the Blacks. So everything's all right for them. Penalty now for the Blacks. Looks like they're going to kick the touch here.
Yeah, I was thinking that might have been offside because Varela was able to get his hand on that ball. It doesn't matter now. It's this kick. It's heading towards touch, and it will enter on the fly. But this lineout will be coming right where that referee is standing.
Yeah, that referee there is Joseph Monk. He also plays for the West Houston Lions, which is a feeder team. It's a D1 team and a feeder team to the Houston SaberCats. So it's good having Joseph Monk here as our AR today.
This lineup for the Blacks. Cron. Nice throw. And now that maul that they tried to form earlier in the contest now gets the push that they were looking for.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, they're getting the drive they want. Moving ahead, they've already made it 5 meters.
Nice recycling of the ball, but they continue trying to plow forward.
Again, the ball's in the back, and they're holding on. Okay, now they're going to get it out to the back line.
Yeah, it looks like it's stagnated. Davidson trying to take on 2 tacklers, took 3. Has the support there, so they'll continue the phase. They swing it outside with the dummy. Now just rips right through the defense, the dive, and the score.
Oh, look at that. The fullback, number 15 from the Austin Blacks, dives in the corner.
Edric Visser.
Vissa!
Scoring our first try at today's contest here in the D3 matchup between Grand Prairie and the Austin Blacks. So it's a 5-0 score line if you just joined us here on the TRU YouTube channel. As we have our first points of the game, and we'll have our first conversion coming up of the game as well. It's going to be a difficult angle, Larry.
Well, you also have the wind that's coming in from the northwest, so basically he's kicking right into the wind. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult kick here.
And right now, points are at a premium. So who knows? This 2 points could pay big dividends later on in this game. And don't forget, Grand Prairie can contest as soon as he starts to approach, and they do send one.
And the kick by number 12, that's just a bit wide. So that brings us up to 5-0 in favor of the Blacks. You know, it's kind of an interesting thing. I notice everybody's quiet here. I don't know if how many of you were down in Houston when USA won that spectacular match against Scotland down there at BBVA Compass Stadium.
Well, it's, talking about the Eagles, it's been nice, both men and women's sides, both 15s and 7s. We've started to have some great success on the international level. And I know a lot of people are really looking forward to at least the 7 side for the Olympics team.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I'm glad to see. I'm really looking forward to what's coming up here in this next tournament. Speaking of that game against Scotland, a lot of the Scottish nationals were not happy with our fans because we acted like American football fans, screaming and yelling during the kick, but I noticed here the fans were really quiet during the conversion.
Well, it's a great game, and, we still have a lot to learn. But, as with anything, food, music, we always put our own spin on the culture.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? We're playing here in the States, and so I think it was appropriate. It got the fans excited, and it got people really excited about our game of rugby. But you're right about our 7s team. Man, I tell you what, I'm really looking forward to that. And look at this great run coming on.
And it looks like it's coming back.
Oh, my goodness. Yep.
Looks like that pass went a little too forward for the AR's eye.
Just a bit forward.
And now Grand Prairie will have the ball over the midway line.
And you know what? This is our first scrum. And so this is going to be interesting. So we're going to see how the packs line up here.
Oh, a lot can be decided in this contest from this first scrum. Really trying to set the tone here for both sides. As a fan, we're just looking to see if we're going to get a nice clean scrum. Mr. Pugh, our head official, not liking the bind already.
Yeah, he didn't like something there, so he's coming on the other side. He could really watch. He's getting everybody lined up properly.
Well, just in case we have any first-time viewers, you're just watching your friend because they just started playing, and this might be your first experience of the game. The binding rules when it comes to a ruck have changed within the last decade, so some players that have been playing since then still having to make some adjustments. And you can see that it's still not natural just yet for most teams.
I can remember back in the 80s when we would make our own call-ins. And so it really has changed.
Yeah, the rules always evolving. That looks like no offside call there against the Blacks. And you can hear Grand Prairie wanting offside call.
It was interesting because it looked like, now hold on one second here. It looked like we had a forward pass, but not called.
But you could see, Larry, where Dennis Walker, he had made the interception, but he was already ahead of the play.
Absolutely. So we had a couple of things going on there, but what you had initially was that offside call.
Yeah, it depends on what the referee is going to call here.
He called the forward pass.
So he called the pass.
He called the pass, against Grand Prairie.
So that it's actually going to work out well for the Blacks as they'll get to feed this scrum in.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see. I tell you what, the size of both of these packs, these guys are huge.
And right on cue is a pure stalemate.
Oh my goodness, look at that, man. Great passing. He's going for it. Is he staying in touch? Yeah, he is.
Stays in play, able to put the ball down, and the Blacks continue to rumble down the pitch. As you can see, a nice cut in and another fend able to
Look at
clear
that,
his own
man.
defender.
They're just clearing it out and getting that ball moving. Now they're spinning it wide.
Oh, that was a terrific tackle, though. Took all the jersey and everything else to bring down the big man. But the ball still with the Blacks as they continue to come back down this way toward the pitch. It's Sullivan.
Oh, man, look at that. Just popped right out of the ruck. And so now they got their wing there from the Blacks. Number 11's going in. Man, they are really moving the ball forward fantastically.
Pass swung out to Hernandez, trying to dummy forward. Good strong ruck there to set the play by Pena. And now this ball out wide.
Man, almost picked off there, but he has it.
Terrific hands and a terrific try. Wonderfully done with great composure and class to score for the Austin Blacks.
Man, I tell you what, that was great movement of the ball. Now we're starting to see what we've known of the Austin Blacks in all divisions, and that is a great ball movement, hard hitting, great rucking, and they did it so well this time. So well done, Blacks. Well, that's their second try here.
Second try of the day. This is going to be a much easier conversion to attempt. Seth Saunders, our try scorer for Austin Blacks, again in this D3 matchup, here on day one of our scheduled 2 days of continuous coverage for you. Working through some of the weather as we now find ourselves here at Boswell High School at Pioneer Stadium. As they were friendly enough, and we're on standby just in case we need it.
And it's good. All right. Well, I tell you what, it's kind of nice. It brings it up to 12-0 in favor of the Blacks here. So way to go, Blacks.
First conversion of the day, 2 tries for the Blacks. And, it's really interesting, Larry, because Grand Prairie, they did have the ball, and we said this earlier, early on in the contest, inside the opposing 22, and they went for the kick, trying to score those early points to get on the board first, and it didn't work out for them, and now they've been playing from behind ever since.
Absolutely. And it kind of appears like the Blacks have just woken up, and we're starting to see some good play come forth from them. And so right now, Grand Prairie really has to turn it up defensively and get the ball back so then they can regain and get that internal feeling, that spirit going, and they lost it. It's to the Blacks. Fullback of Grand Prairie has it.
Yeah, Davidson sending it long. This is Thomas cutting himself back in, still with possession. He continues to rumble right through. It's a DDT tackle. That's a high tackle that will not be called. So the Blacks got away with one there. Continuing, using the spin, and having to be brought down by 2 men from behind.
Oh, do you see that? Almost a high tackle. He let go right there. Okay, we have a penalty. Penalty, Grand Prairie. Looks like he went ahead and called it.
Yeah, went straight for that neckline.
And that's a thing that they're doing more and more these days, just for safety. If we went back, 20 years, my gosh, tackling around the neck was kind of normal.
Well, if you're already on YouTube, if you're out there viewing at home, so during halftime, you can just open up another tab and take a look at some of the old footage. Yes, and exactly what Larry was saying. It was much different back then, and it was much different even just 15 years ago. So the game always evolving, but in a good way, making it safer.
That kind of reminds me of what happened recently up in the province of Nova Scotia in Canada. Just out of fear, the Schools Association up there said no more rugby for schools. But that was banned. And then all of a sudden they came back where they retracted their statement when the response essentially proved that rugby's not dangerous. Not nearly as dangerous as it was thought.
It is a common misconception, that is for sure. But this is not, because right now they are moving their way toward the try line for Grand Prairie.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's what they needed. Now the momentum's moving back for Grand Prairie.
They're going to take it quickly, trying to cut back inside. Triplet with the tackle for the Blacks. Grand Prairie gets a nice ruck for him. Now trying to swing it outside wide. No, a little 2-man game, and it was knocked forward. But we're going to call the high tackle instead. Yep. So again, Grand Prairie getting lucky here. His 3rd time the charm. If the Blacks have their way, they say, no, sir, it isn't. Deny them. right on the doorstep and sent them back a couple of meters. Able to cut through the defense there.
Yeah, he actually made it pretty well. I mean, he got through.
They're saying not releasing the ball, but the referee not going to call that. Play will continue on this phase.
And Grand Prairie is responding quickly. They're also moving the ball quickly out of the ruck.
But they're moving backwards
Yep.
instead of forward. And that is a testament to this Black defense right now. As they come hard off the line, but great cut. Use the fem, but the tackle from behind from the captain, Goss, able to slow up the would-be try score for Grand Prairie. Haven't had too much pause in the action, but we did have it there. Keeping it short.
You know, the thing is about the Blacks defense is they're coming up. They're following the threefold aspect of defense, which is to go ahead and stay flat, nominate who you're going for, and then come up strongly. And they're doing those three very, very well.
And that was a crushing hit by Pena as he sent the gentleman into touch. Grand Prairie lucky to continue possession here. They've gone through about 8 or 9 phases.
Yeah, look at that. Now we got a penalty for the Blacks.
Yeah, this one going against Grand Prairie. And it's unfortunate. This looked like it was going to be their best opportunity to score here in the first half of play, Larry. And they just couldn't get it done. And you were talking about that defense and their scheme. They definitely travel in packs as well. They do not make one-man tackles. There's definitely 2 or 3 of them as they're almost always around the ball. It's going to be heading towards touch, and it's going to go out on the fly. Didn't make up too much room. It's going to be well beyond the midway line here. Maybe about, I want to say about 10 meters or so. Not much more than that.
Wow, look at that. Looks like about, they're 15 off the mark. They're 15 off the center. So let's see what the referee's discussing here.
Well, Larry, we were on the sideline earlier, and both teams, they really didn't say anything to each other, but until the very end, when they were starting to get hyped, that's when the emotions started coming out.
Absolutely. And so he's just wanting to make sure to keep it safe, keep it clean, and let's keep those tempers down. And that's what, and you know, when that happens, then we start having all the penalties come out as a result. And so he wants to keep those penalties down, and he just wants to keep clean play so the guys don't start making some terrible, dangerous mistakes.
Well, we talked about the weather earlier, and we talked about the fact that we've gone from a natural pitch to a synthetic pitch here, and you have to believe now, Larry, that the sun, now that it's a little bit more humid after the rain from yesterday, and the sunshine continues to beat down those plastic and rubber pellets that are within the synthetic turf, that pitch is starting to really heat up now, and starting to kind of wear on the players, especially since we haven't hit those hot summer months just yet.
Not yet, but after coming out of winter and spring, they're feeling it.
Yes, it's that first hot spring day as you move into summer here in Texas. It really can just sap the energy out of you, especially with the humidity. On the throw, it was way offline, and it's going to be brought down by the Blacks as they try to form the maul once again. They were successful earlier in the contest with that tactic. Little up and under.
That was beautiful, beautiful offload right there.
This ball loose, though. It's still picked up by the Blacks, but there's no help. That ruck coming late. It looks like Grand Prairie might have a chance to poach it. They do not, and are unsuccessful in doing so.
Man, look at the way the Blacks are moving the ball. It's fantastic. Oh, we have a penalty here, and look at that.
Comerford, one going into contact, but also didn't release possession.
He didn't release the ball. That's too bad for the Blacks, but I tell you what, it's great for Grand Prairie, so now they can get the ball moving down and hopefully get the momentum moving back in their way.
It really has only been one mistake or two that the Blacks have been able to capitalize that have led to those tries. Other than that, Grand Prairie so far, Larry, has looked really engaged on defense.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and that's the thing that's going to be in their benefit if they continue playing this way throughout the game.
Yeah, they're going to need that strong defense to turn into some points, maybe on the counter. Right now they have possession.
No call was made on that throw-in.
A crunching
But that
tackle
was
by
a
Dennis
fun-
Walker.
Oh, man, we have a nice loose ball there. Look at that. Grand Prairie gets it.
Dennis Walker introduced himself to this contest and to the ball carrier. Luckily, his ribs still intact, but wow, what a crunch. And we can hear all the way up here, Larry.
Yeah, we sure could have. And, I thought the referee would have gone ahead and let advantage go. It looked like it was going for it, the Grand Prairie runner right there. But at the same time, he went ahead and blew the whistle. And that's just a call it's a judgment call. The whistle was already blown. It was too bad for Grand Prairie, but at the same time, now that was too bad for Grand Prairie because they didn't get the ball to touch.
Yes, a terrific run made by Chaffin. Now Grand Prairie looking to return. He's ridden down by Taylor. The ruck has already formed, so now just trying to figure out what they want to do offensively, and they decide to keep it short. It looks like they're going to try to stay with that forward pack like you mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Well, no, now they're spinning it wide here.
And as soon as I say that, they try to get it forward.
Wait a second. They had I like that. There he is.
Yeah,
the
that was
lock number 4 got the ball, took it down.
And Steven Spear out there. Not sure exactly what Grand Prairie has up their sleeves right now. As they're trying to get some momentum offensively. That will work as he's able to shed one tackler, but the ball popped out.
Man. Yeah, lost that ball right there, or he tried to pass it.
Either way, it came loose. Blacks have possession. They just send this deep. And now the referee's going to call this one back.
He's saying it's a not forward. Grand Prairie, we're going to have a scrum. It will be Austin Blacks put in.
So just in case you missed it, we've had a couple of tries scored earlier on in this contest. Grand Prairie still looking for their first points of the game. We had the first opportunity. We're unable to convert that kick off of the penalty. And other than that, the Austin Black defense has been keeping them at bay. I don't think it's an overstatement to say it's been a suffocating defense thus far on display for Austin.
Absolutely, it sure has. And they're playing it very, very well.
And again, we've had this issue with the scrums. Referee Pugh just trying to keep everything safe down there for all players involved.
And that's a needed thing. But once you're coming together in the scrum, especially with the pack up front, if you get that good head in right under the shoulders, everything's merging well. Then you got your locks coming in, you have your second row, and everybody's pushing well. Then you just bind together as one, and it looks like the Blacks are going to do this. And they do the 8-man pick.
And it works out well as he continues to fend up. Oh, he steps into touch, though.
And did you see how he caught that as well?
He was trying to hide it, though, hoping that the AR didn't see it. You could see that slide foot. He tried to just kind of fall back in.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm going down. I'm going to go down.
Yeah, I'm just going to go down instead.
Oh, fantastic.
Give credit to the defense, though, of Grand Prairie for staying with the play and forcing the mistake on the run. And did this not come down the channel?
That's right. So we have a call not thrown straight. We're going to wait and see what happens here. Now you see the Blacks have a choice. They could either have a scrum or they can throw the ball in, and it looks like they're going to go for their strength, which is the scrum.
And people out there might wonder, because sometimes I used to play hooker, so I'm always a little biased, I suppose. It's like, how hard can it be to throw it right down the middle of the channel? Well, the thing is that you're already tired, and it's hot, and your hands are sweaty. It can get difficult. And sometimes that win can be unpredictable. Because rugby is a true sport that can be played in any, and we mean any condition.
Any condition, it doesn't matter, as long as the tornado's not coming through.
And, no major lightning. Oh, nice hands.
Oh, look at that. Off to the fullback, to the wing, number 11, and he downs it.
Oh, that was pure class and textbook on the score as Michael Taylor will touch it down. Yes, like you mentioned, that third try, but wasn't that great work with the ball, and they got the 2-on-1 on the outside, and they made the right move.
Absolutely. They moved it out very, very well, as they should. It's like a textbook way of moving the ball. And so they got it in there. Unfortunately, they got the try down in the corner. But the good thing is that now they're not kicking into the wind. Okay, but they still have the wind coming in from the left, from the northeast, northwest. And so that could cause some problems, but at least it's a little bit better than kicking into it.
You know, Larry, I know we didn't get to talk too much earlier, but I do have to ask, is your day job a meteorologist in the Houston area? I'm just not aware of this.
No, actually, it's just because I live in Houston and flooding happens all the time. So, we watch the weather.
Okay, I was like, you have a wonderful sense of direction in the cloud coverage.
No, we don't see clear skies like this all the time back home.
This kick taken by Sullivan, and he will convert.
Oh, fantastic. He got the conversion.
So right now, it's been all Austin Blacks, 19-0, as Grand Prairie still searching for answers to their question on how to score their first points of this contest.
Absolutely. They have to come back. And you know what? This is the time when they have to have something go really well for them to get that momentum back, because one more try by the Blacks, and I think that could seal the deal for them. Let's hope not, but it could.
What do you think will lead to that succession, Larry? Would it be a change of tactics? Is anything that you've seen that might be beneficial to them when venturing for these points?
Well, I have to tell you something. The Blacks are really good on the defense. They're following the threefold defense very well. If Grand Prairie can move the ball outside quickly and get the Blacks just off just a little bit, then I think that could be to their benefit. But if you look at the kickoff, look at how far the Blacks moved the ball down before they kicked the ball to touch.
Yeah, Dennis Walker just eating up the meters on the run until that ball was starting to be moved around. And it's coming all the way back.
And it has to come back because the ball was kicked to touch from right there. You're in front of their 22. And
it's the rule change.
Yeah, that's it. And you could hear it from the fans down there. They didn't like seeing that either. It must have been Austin Black fans.
No, and even my good friend who does do refereeing had to explain that rule change to me just a few weeks ago as well. Everybody having to make adjustments.
Look, hey, we have another penalty, not releasing.
And that will benefit Grand Prairie. Expect them to go for the kick and the touch and just try to get a line out deep within Austin Black territory.
Grand Prairie needs to get the ball as far downfield into touch as possible. Win this line out and just move it. And that was pretty good.
It's going to work out decently well for them as they get it past the midway line.
Okay, so Grand Prairie, really, at this time, they have to win this one. Then they have to get the momentum in their favor, move that ball down. And you know what? They just have to at least get close to the try line. Really, they need the try.
Just going with the four-man line out, keeping it short. Referee showing off the athleticism to get out of the way of the pass. The big man showing his athleticism as he continues to tumble and rumble forward.
Yeah, he really does have some great athleticism right there. Looks like a gymnast.
And that was Steven Spears.
Oh, man.
Trying to go for the kick.
It's back. It's the Blacks' ball. On the charge down, it's not a knock-on from the kick. If it bounces off of it and goes forward, then it doesn't count as a knock-on.
Oh, and this ball's going to be lost in the ruck. Who is holding on to who, though? And who is holding on to what?
Okay, hold on. It looks like we have a penalty to the Blacks.
If anything, that would have been hands in the ruck. But we do have a player down for Austin. At least slow to get up until he's helped up by his teammates. That's Rezo. And it's a very exuberant bunch.
Yeah, you could tell Austin's really getting excited at this point.
And it's hard for them not to be, especially since everything's going their way.
Absolutely.
That's a good kick for them as well. So everything coming up Austin Black.
15 meters off the goal line. And so I'm going to expect the Blacks to get the ball and just maul it forward and then crash. But, it's the Blacks, so they can surprise us and spin it out after a few of those. So let's see what happens here.
Well, they have been fortunate earlier in this contest, scoring those tries with some good ball movement. Last one was on the near side on a 2-on-1 situation where they made the right moves on the pass. Let's see if they can get it done this go-around deep within Maverick territory. It all has to start with a clean throw, and they weren't able to do that last time. A little wobbly, but they are able to get it down.
The Blacks got it. Look at this. And now they're going to drive it. They're going to drive it far. Look at that. They already moved it up a few meters there. Oh, look at that. He had a good pull out.
Yeah, just trying to
Roll.
spin.
Yep.
Went right into the
Rolling
contact.
ball they were trying. We haven't seen that in much rugby lately.
It's a little bit of an old school tactic there,
Yeah,
but it did
the
work
rolling
out.
ball, I kind of liked it. Oh, look at this. Now they're getting closer.
Oh, but way to
Loose
blow
ball.
up the ruck for Grand Prairie as he was able to take out 2 Austin Black ruckers.
Now they're going to spin it out.
Yeah, looking to try
Look
to
at the
go
Grand
wide.
Prairie defense, though. The Grand Prairie defense is coming up strongly.
Well, they still
But the Blacks have the overload on the outside.
trying to go with that no-look offload.
Wow, you know what? That was amazing. Grand Prairie got very fortunate there. The Blacks had a 2-man overload, but because the Grand Prairie Mavericks came up very strongly, they actually, through their pressure, stopped the Blacks from moving the ball out. And the Blacks had all the advantage in their favor.
Yeah, and it is because, like you mentioned, that pressure forcing the bad pass. But give credit to Austin, though, as that was a smart play, knowing that they lost possession instead of giving up a possible counterattack, just kicking it in touch.
Absolutely.
And slowing down play. And now we have another line out where Austin might feel that they can get a steal. They won't be able to. But let's see if they can hold Mavericks deep or they're going to force them to turn over. Instead, they're going to try to kick. It's going to be fielded past the halfway line. They're going to have to work it around.
Kicked it way down nicely, kicked it out there to the wing of the Blacks.
Sullivan advancing the ball nicely. It's a tackle from behind. Visser going down. Taylor having to pick it up again as he goes into contact. Had little help to do so. And there's still really not much there. And it's going to be played off the ground really quickly. Comfort. Outside hit big.
Oh, man. That wing was just a little bit too far forward. He was in a great position to get the ball, move it up. But he was too far forward, so he couldn't get the ball.
And it looks like Austin's trying to work for those 2-on-1s on the outside as they continue to suck in the defense for Grand Prairie. Little up and under, but it's a big collision under there.
Well, you know, the thing is, it still works out in their favor because of the knock-on, so they're going to have the scrum. Will be Austin's put in.
Grand Prairie really could use the ball back here late in the first half of play. Again, we are here at Pioneer Stadium on the campus of Boswell High School.
The weather's nice. It's dry, pleasant. Kind of warm on the field, though.
Yes, and we're hoping with some good weather and maybe if everything dries out, we can get back to our original scheduled venue over at Lake Highland on their parks where the Austin Reds play their rugby. Or, excuse me, Dallas Reds. Hopefully nobody from Dallas heard that or Austin. I know they would both be very upset with that
Well,
mistake.
you know, we'll probably get some emails soon. Text,
Davidson.
Facebook post. Man, look at the movement of the ball there. Got it back. They were fortunate on that one.
Just pick
wow.
and continue to spin.
They're locked. Number 4 off to the fullback, number 15. He scores the try.
And the captain, David Goss, went right into the contact. The perfect layoff just as he was going down. And again, it was working on one of those 2-on-1 overload situations where they had previous success as Chapman scores his second try of the game. It's been all Austin Blacks here in the first half, and it's interesting to see because originally it looked like Grand Prairie was going to be the team that was going to have the momentum, but just not scoring on that initial drive down the pitch where they were able to garner the penalty attempt. It just really came back and affected them deeply in this match.
Well, you know, and let's take a look at how many tries Austin has scored on the outside. Okay, almost every try was scored on the outside except for one. And so they are really forcing Grand Prairie to put up a heavy defense up the middle. And then Austin spins it out wide, takes great advantage of what's going on with Grand Prairie. Now, that's not saying that Grand Prairie is not playing tough. No, they are playing tough. They're playing wonderful defense. They're coming up strong. They're staying flat. It's fantastic. But it's just Austin is moving the ball extremely well.
Yeah, it's just that one mistake that they're able to expose, and then they take advantage and waltz into the try zone.
Absolutely.
And right off the tee, you only get a minute to do this. And he's going to take it on the drop instead, and it almost worked out just as well.
It almost worked out the way that spin was. Wow, I tell you what, when he first kicked it, it looked like it wasn't going to make it, and then it looked like it was, and it's just a bit to the left.
Well, that was an interesting end to halftime there, but it has, once again, Austin Blacks have been dominant in this first half of play. 24-0 our score here in the D3 matchup between the Blacks and Grand Prairie, as the Mavericks will look to make some adjustments during halftime. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be back for the start of your second half. Thank you again for tuning in here on the TRU YouTube channel. And thanks to our friends here at Nutmeg Sports Media for bringing this broadcast to you.
Well, what do you say, boss?
I think it's pretty solid.
I gotta just remember not to do announcing, because in announcing we don't do play-by-play. I used to do that.
Yeah.
They jumped on me. They said,
Oh,
yeah.
I was being very quiet.
And you were quiet. Okay, well, I tell you what, then good. And so, yeah, 24-0, man, it's good. I have to tell you, man, Austin is just, they do a style that kind of reminds me of an All Black style.
Yeah?
And
Like when you say, oh my God.
well, I'm gonna say,
We played the D1 round of 8, 12 years ago together.
yeah.
Drew.
Hey, Drew, how you doing, man? Larry, yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
No,
You're
the
just taking advantage.
Just think the video is, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah,
there's
yeah,
no-
yeah.
mute.
Great. I said, 12 years ago, we played in the Div 1. The whole team almost completely.
Isn't that amazing? I know. Well, that's the thing. And so you get these guys, and what are they, most of the older guys now? So they're
5.
yeah, so
They don't want to play, you know?
yeah, yeah. So,
Play
like,
so
you know,
long.
they'll play D3, you know, yeah, they'll go down to D3. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what's going on. And you can tell they play well together. You can tell they have that connection. And who are you with?
I was supposed to announce the next one, but you guys didn't. So good.
No,
I don't even announce anything. You guys are good.
You're on, you're on.
Drew, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, heck, you weren't either of the guys I thought they had announced someone. I thought they had some other people that had names. Must have been the wrong spot. And the other guys were just announced.
That's me?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so you
Saturday
are.
was Mike.
No, Mike's my brother. He's a referee.
See, I know who he is.
I'm a referee also.
Yeah.
Well, you know, but I never repped in your game, so that's all. Yeah, but that's okay. Yeah, wow, man. I hope Michael's okay. I hope he didn't kill him.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you know, Frank Prairie just doesn't have the competition that would possibly be done.
Oh, okay.
I'm not taking that for me.
You know, 'cause
I know, we play against them this year.
Yeah.
And our team is bad. And you're gonna see the same thing that happens to a lot of next year. It's just that I guarantee you, first team, it might be a little bit closer, but I'm just gonna do that. To get pictures, we're gonna do our first two. Just like I think.
Yeah. Now you know the 20% play for life, which is really, that would be something. Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah, number 11. And so, but you know, the biggest is I'm going to murder. You know, down this year. Sorry. Yeah, we got one.
Sorry, we kind of paused all this.
That's all good.
We're not getting any.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to have my son here. So, yeah.
I feel pretty simple.
Pretty soon. All right, I guess we're on. Good, man. I look forward to seeing you. Oh, that's okay.
That's your zero. Those are zero.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Jim. Okay, are we on?
Welcome back as we get ready for a start of our second half here from Pioneer Stadium and Boswell High School. Here in the D3 matchup on TRU Rugby channel here on YouTube. Glad that you can join us once again. This match, Justin Simmons alongside my good friend Larry Monks. And Larry, it was a very interesting first half, but the Austin Blacks really showing their dominance after some well-taken tries.
And you know, the one thing about the Blacks here, this is, oh man, not gone. Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, and that's how it's kind of been for Grand Prairie, unfortunately, here today. Just little mistakes. And again, it's not to the lack of trying. They've been playing well, but just certain things have not gone their way.
You know, it's real unfortunate for Grand Prairie there. He was already thinking about making the move, I believe, and he just let go of the ball. You know, it's interesting watching the Blacks here because the Blacks, this team has been playing together for quite a while. A lot of these guys were on their D1 team a few years ago. So they just have that finesse. They have the teamwork down. They know each other. They know their positioning. And this has really come out in favor of the Blacks. And so we're going to see what happens here in the scrum. Blacks put in. They're only, looks like, what is that, about 12, 13 meters off of the goal line.
I thought you were going to say that they have that ESP as well, where they just seem to know where everybody is. And here he comes, Justin Boyd.
Man, he just came right in there on that scissor. I mean, we saw that coming from way back there. Man, he just exploded through.
Yeah, as soon as they had put Justin Boyd in, you knew they wanted to get the ball to him, and he let him use his pace. One of the fastest men I've ever met in my lifetime. The former Eagle getting the try.
Fantastic. He just took great advantage of that. And you saw that coming so easily from up here.
And if Grand Prairie didn't already have a tough enough day on their hands with the deficit, now with the pace of Boyd here for the second half of play, they're really going to have to watch on the outside. They've already been beaten on the overloads a couple of times in the first half of play. At the close of the first half, we saw the ball come off of the tee. That led to a missed conversion attempt. This time it stays on the tee.
Oh, man.
And it pings off the post.
Wow. Yeah, that's too bad. But I tell you what, here we are now, 29-0 in favor of the Blacks, just at the start of the second half. And it's going to really be tough for Grand Prairie at this time. They're going to have to get the ball down there, try to find a way to get the ball back to them. And if they don't, what I'm afraid of is that momentum is just going to be shot. But I hope they don't kill themselves mentally at this point and they continue to hang in there. You know, Grand Prairie has been, even though a younger team, they've been given a good, solid defense. But the thing is they've just not been able to stop the Blacks from their expertise. And unfortunately, they didn't kick the ball well. It didn't go 10 meters, and so we're going to have a scrum center Blacks put in.
Yes, right now they are looking for some gauze to stop the bleeding, so to speak, as the second consecutive mistake at the start of play for Grand Prairie. Last time it was them trying to handle the kick. This time it was trying to send the kick 10 meters, so we'll have this scrum coming right on the halfway mark. And it will be for Austin Blacks, as Triplet will feed this ball in. And look for them to try to swing it out here wide to the near side with the green-cleated Justin Boyd in his pace.
Yeah, checking the safety, making sure the binds are right. Yeah, he's talking about the binds right there. It's all about safety now.
You know, Larry, that's something that we saw a lot in the first half, just not being able to get that clean bind to get this scrum going. And at this point in the contest, you have to think that one of the reasons might be some of those tired legs out there, especially because they have to play so much defense.
Absolutely. And this is when the little mistakes can really happen, the dangerous mistakes. So I commend the ref for doing that. He was doing a great job there. Oh, watch this. Oh, man, trying for the 8-man pick. Oh, wow.
And they ran the 8-man pick successfully for a try just about midway in the first half of play, but this ball caught up in the traffic and finally is kicked away by Davidson.
Well, you know, that's commendable about the Blacks because Grand Prairie got their hand on the ball when it was dropped. The Blacks almost lost the ball, so Grand Prairie taking the touch. That's going to be great field position at this point for the Blacks.
Yeah, and Grand Prairie, unfortunately, just giving the ball right back. Haven't been able to really set any rucks and start phases of the game. Instead, now this line out coming to Austin, but let's see maybe if Grand Prairie can possibly get a steal on this line out. And you hear the chants.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, they're going to, ooh, wait a second.
And you hear the nose as well, as it was thrown too far to one side.
Yeah, not thrown straight.
Yeah, Blake Rogers going up and coming down with the ball, but it wasn't down the middle of that channel. So it's a turnover, and now
Grand Prairie selected to do the scrum instead of the throwing at the line out.
That is an interesting thought, especially how they've been rather unsuccessful in the scrum so far here today, Larry.
I'm agreeing with you there. I tell you, I would have thought for certain that they would have gone for the throwing at the line out.
Yeah, they've had some really great, well, there's the word again, great success on the line out. So, like yourself, I'm very surprised they didn't go that route. They do feed in, they're able to win it, but they are getting pushed back out of the scrum, trying to get a running start.
Knock on. We're going to have another scrum. Blacks put in.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that they weren't going to get the call. Maybe the referee was going to continue play there. Instead, we do get that knock. And now we're to that point in the contest where things are starting to slow down. A little one-sided in the sense that the Blacks have a commendable scoreline lead. And we do have a couple of reserves in for both sides now. And we should see others filter in throughout the close of this contest. Just trying to get these rucks clean, and we already see one head pop up, and we know that we're going to have to talk about this all over again.
You know, it could be because they're tired, the game's there, but by this time, you would think that the front rowers would be able to come in. It could be the heat. It could be anything. You know, the guys are playing hard down there. Everybody's giving 110%. But, again, it's all about the safety. And so that's why the referee is calling them up, making sure, hey, listen, guys, we got to come in. We got to come in even, solid. He doesn't want to see any funny stuff going on. So let's see what happens here with the Blacks. Ball's in, amen, pick. Giving that extra man out in the back line. Man, he is really moving. Look at that. He just moved up 10 meters, 12 meters.
Yeah, Dennis Walker just beasting right through the line. Davidson with the quick pass is taken by Rezo, and he'll be brought to ground. Blacks continue moving the ball. This one kicked ahead, trying to leave it for Boyd, and it's going to go into touch. Good idea, though.
Yeah, it was a nice idea. It would have been neat to see. But we're going to end up with a 5-meter line out, and it's going to be Grand Prairie's throw-in. But, yeah, that was kind of exciting to see because Boyd, he was right there.
Yeah, he has that pace. He has more than just a first step. He has 2 or 3 that are extremely fast, and the rest is elementary for him. But even that one just a little too far out of distance.
And I tell you what, the way he runs up there, the defense has to look for him. Wait a second, do I go for the ball or go for? I got to stop this guy.
Oh, it was taken by the Blacks off of the line out.
Look at that.
But it was knocked forward.
Blacks almost had it, so we're going to have a scrum at 5 meters.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate because as he was going to ground, that ball came loose. We will have that scrum come now, but it just gets much more difficult for Grand Prairie. Every time it looks like something's going to go their way, have a couple of phases go in their direction, instead it works against them.
We heard the whistle there. All right. Okay, official time back on.
Here in the second half of play.
Dangerous location for Grand Prairie right here. They have to win this scrum. They got to clear the ball downfield.
Yeah, expecting just to take the quick kick if they can get possession.
Absolutely.
It's a 29-0 lead if you just joined us here on the TRU Rugby channel. Here on YouTube. And just like we just discussed, won and taken quickly on the kick.
Kicked it. Unfortunately, it went to touch and we're only about 22 meters away from the goal line for the Blacks. They're going to have the throw in here, and that still is a good field position for the Blacks.
Yeah, they've been threatening this almost entire second half, but some of that because the Mavericks turning over the ball quickly when they did have possession. Had some questions on the decision from going from the line out to the scrum. For the Blacks, it has worked out well as they're able to form that ball quickly. Ball finally going to ground, and now they're just working out wide.
About 5-8 meters from the mall.
Oh, here comes Justin
Blacks have
Boyd.
the overload, but Boyd's going to take it himself.
Oh, Boyd just able to cut right through.
Wow.
I know it's cliche,
Wow.
but a hot knife through butter. He was able to slice right through them.
Definitely.
And
Wait, if you saw that, did you see how they had the overload? The Blacks had 2 men out on the left, and then Boyd got the ball, and so that just put Grand Prairie in such a tough situation where, okay, do we focus on Boyd or do we focus on the overload? And the thing is that, you know what? They were already beaten by that time, unfortunately.
yeah, it definitely had put them on high alert. And even with the overload, he's kind of like an overload all wrapped up in one person. Besides his north and south pace, he also has the moves to go east and west and make you, or essentially be able to break your ankles if you're trying to make the tackle on him.
I tell you, absolutely. The Flying Gazelle.
And Justin Boyd,
So we're going to have
amazing player.
We're going to have official break in time right here.
Yes, and this is the man that would take the kick in Pat Sullivan, who was
Ooh,
down.
man, yeah.
Sullivan's been taking the kicks today, so that's why we haven't had the conversion attempt just yet, as he is slowed to keep off of the pitch. And the referee had held up play there. Now the time is put back on. They're going to let Charles Davidson take this kick. Davison, affectionately known as Chunk, according to their head coach, and some of his teammates that I talked to before the match. Again, thank you for joining us here at Pioneer Stadium. Good friends here, Nutmeg Sports Media, for the production, getting everything set up after having the flood from last night.
Oh,
with
it's
Trey
good.
Value.
It's good. There it is.
Yes, it was a terrific kick that was taken by Davidson. As he was replacing Sullivan as the kick taker. I don't think Sullivan's going to come back into this contest. He is still getting checked out. But that will just increase the lead for Austin as they are now ahead 36-0 as Grand Prairie continues to put up a fight. But Austin Blacks just right now a little too overbearing as we do get a change. Looks like we're going to have our kick here. Wazakowski sending it into
Goes
touch.
right to touch. Yeah, look at that. Okay. And, of course, the Blacks are going to bring it back here. They're not going to go for the re-kick. They want to have the scrum center.
Really shorten the field for Austin here. And that's the one, well, there have been numerous issues we can speak of, but one of the most apparent has been the short field that Austin Blacks have been able to utilize as they've really worked a lot of these drives and these beautiful phasing from about the midway point onward. They haven't really been pinned deep in their own territory in this contest, especially in the second half.
Absolutely. They really have just controlled the ball both defensively and clearly offensively.
So it was fed in by Austin. A little slow on the take. Now they get it out. Davidson able to put it up into the air, and you can hear the big sigh from up here as he
And Boyd was right
round the
there.
fly.
Did you see that? Look at that. Yeah. It looked like the play plan was right there. Kick it, let Boyd get it, as if he was a American football wide receiver.
And this is something that you don't really see at this level too often is somebody with that type of pace. I mean, we're talking about world-class elite pace to where you can utilize a play like that. Usually at this level, I'm used to seeing a lot of forward pack, pick and pops, pick and goes.
Right.
Not too much outplay wide, and especially not a lot of kicking. But now that Boyd's in the contest, has really opened up the offensive repertoire for Austin Blacks. And it's won by Grand Prairie on the line out. It knocked it back over the midway line in Grand Prairie territory as they work their way back towards the halfway mark.
Grand Prairie, nice little skip, moving the ball, but I tell you what, that black defense is just stopping them.
Yeah, Lampy going into the contact, able to get down on ground though and keep the ruck form. Phase continues. Setting up another phase. Nice passing, but the tackling even better for Austin as they ride the ball carrier to the ground.
Grand Prairie has a strong overload there to the left. Will they take advantage of it? Possibly. They can move that ball out there.
Now that defense of the Blacks holding strong. Nobody there to help on the ruck.
Man, look at that. Okay. Oh, that's outstanding. Grand Prairie's taking a quick tap on the penalty.
And smartly taken by
Open
Garcia.
run. Does he have somebody? Oh, man, he needed support right
He
there,
did
right
have
there.
support. He was able to offload it on the way down. And that was some good offense shown for the first time here in the second half for Grand Prairie.
That knock on.
And the curse of the commentator, I'm afraid, is right on cue. The ball
I
will
tell
be
you,
returned to the
it
Blacks.
looked like the Grand Prairie didn't have the support, and then almost out of nowhere it came up and looked like they were starting to get it together. Unfortunately, the knock on. We're going to have a scrum. It will be Blacks put in.
And the misfortunes continue for Grand Prairie. I mean, it was some great play, really some creative offload there. And in the end, though, just that one mistake killing all the momentum for them. And now they're going to have to try to play catch-up again. Still valiantly fighting, though, for their first points of the afternoon as we are here in the second half of play. And thank you again for joining us here. Hopefully you'll stick around for our continuous coverage throughout the day. 2 more matches coming up for you right here on the TRU YouTube channel.
Well, okay, they're not going to do the 8-man pick. The Blacks are holding. Let's see what play they come up with. They're going to clear downfield, of course, because they're behind the 22. That was a smart move. And they are really moving it.
And that ball.
Boyd's just kind of jogging down there. He says, I'm not going to run down there and chase it. It's not on my side of the field.
Oh, his jog is faster than most people's full sprint speed, so.
I couldn't help but wonder if the kick was on the other side of the field, if Boyd wouldn't have already been there by now.
He might have been. I'm telling you, people, that is not misconstrued. He really is that fast. I mean, personally, I would know. I've more than just not just seen it only on TV, but I mean, I played against it and I played on the same team. I've seen it like on a daily basis. I know exactly how fast that kid is, and he was faster after that, which blows my
All right,
mind.
so here we go, now releasing. And so it's a penalty to Grand Prairie. Nice kick to touch.
Exactly what they needed there.
That's good field position.
Let's see if they can utilize it. Lineouts have been friendly to them.
Yeah, I think they're, if things go here as they have been, they should win this line out.
And if you
The
win,
numbers are looking good in the backfield.
yeah, if they win it, you can already see they look pretty committed to trying to get it out wide as quickly as possible and hopefully get it to somebody out on the run. Oh, and that ball was,
That was clearly not straight. It was behind the Grand Prairie's line.
and once again, unfortunate for them because they were even able to psych out the Blacks line out, forced them up early, and still were unable to get the clean throw when all they had to do was just kind of put it near the man.
Now we're going to take a look at what the discussion is between the AR and the center ref. See what he says.
And the center referee Pugh.
All right, penalty. Yeah, that's it.
All
The
right.
Blacks lifted the man early.
So it went from misfortune to great fortune. Let's see what they can do with the ball now.
They're going to try crashing it right here. Ooh, man, right to the fly half.
It's hard to run right through a brick wall.
It really is, especially this black brick wall.
Nice run
But
there
I
by
tell you
Garcia.
what, he was sure giving a good run right there.
Saint Amant.
Oh,
And this is going to be another penalty taken on the quick.
yep.
And it's going to be taken on the tap. Trying to move it past the 22. And they have been successful in that now. And the ball.
And now the black defense is really coming on strong here. Look at this.
Yeah, they were able.
And they got it. The blacks got it, but let's see what happens.
Well, that ball kind of hung up, and it doesn't look like because of the wind. It looked like it was just kicked on the wrong mark of the ball. Pinwheeled back towards the whole fray.
Well, let's see what our referee Pugh has to say here. Calling the knock-on scrum. It's going to be blacks put in.
So again, just like when it looked like it was going to work out for the Mavericks of Grand Prairie, just wasn't meant to be.
It just unfortunately didn't happen for him. But really, you know, it's just the pressure that the blacks are putting on. The blacks are coming up. They played this defense for so long, so well, and they're really just giving it to Grand Prairie.
Yeah, we said that in the first half, and it has not changed here in the second half. It's never a one-on-one situation defensively when you run towards that black defense. They always meet the ball carrier with 2-3 defenders in tow.
And you know, the
and are
thing
quick
is,
to help.
And it's nothing against Grand Prairie. It's just that the blacks are that much more experienced. That's really what it is. Grand Prairie is a fine team, but the thing is, the blacks have been playing together for so long, so well.
Yeah, and you know, to add to your point there, Larry, I mean, the big word would be execution.
Absolutely.
And that's something that the blacks have done well here today. Is they have executed everything well. Good hands, nice kicks, scrums,
All the
lineouts.
fake into Boyd. Look at this.
Well, Boyd brought down from
Oh,
behind.
man. Boyd's bad pass, though. It's now back to Grand Prairie.
Trying to keep this in play, spinning through is Thomas.
And look at that, though. The blacks just immediately set up the wall. The Grand Prairie has the overload. Grand Prairie is on the run. Let's see if he's going to...
Able to shed the tackler.
Oh,
and able
yes.
to break the second tackle, and will touch this near the post for the first try for the Mavericks.
Grand Prairie had that real nice overload to the right there. And so they actually were able to give back to the blacks what the blacks have been doing to them quite a bit today.
And Greer able to score the try for the Mavericks. And finally working it to the outside. They did have that overload, but the overload wasn't needed. We talked about Justin Boyd and the speed that he was able to create.
Well, you know, but the thing that they did is with that overload, that strong overload they had, is that it put extra pressure on the defense. Who do you watch? Do you watch the guy on the outside or the guy who has the ball? So it's going back and forth. And that's what they did. And they did it well.
And we just finished talking about execution. That was executed perfectly to design for Grand Prairie. Looking to add to the score line here. It is now 36-5 after the try for Grand Prairie. And it doesn't get much easier than that. That will add the extra 2. So now 35-7. Blacks still lead, but Grand Prairie finally on the board. And that really does give their fans and their bench something to cheer about.
You know what's interesting, though, about the blacks' defense there? They had to restructure, get back on defense very quickly, because normally when you're overloaded like that, you just kind of run up and curl out to the outside, and everybody does that. And that's really one of the strong ways of stopping the overload. And surprisingly, the blacks just didn't do it this time. I think it's because Grand Prairie got the ball out so quickly. And by doing that and causing the overload, that was their advantage.
Well, not only that, but now that you mentioned it, Larry, they also had to chase them down from that earlier penalty. They were forced to play a lot more defense than they had been in this contest. The defense that they had to play, it hasn't been on the run like it was just moments ago.
Right. Kicking downfield, just moving the ball, getting it away from the blacks. Blacks got it, though. There's their 15. Trying to go for the open run.
Thomas, the last line of the defense, making the tackle.
Back to Grand Prairie right here.
Woo!
See a little back and forth going on.
And we have another smashing hit delivered by that Austin Black defense.
Penalty blacks.
Chaffin, though, still slow to get up over here for Austin Blacks as he's still feeling the effects of that tackle from the opposing 15, who is slow to get up over here from Thomas. So after he made the tackle, able to get back on the ball. But like you mentioned, right now, Larry, it's going to be a penalty for Austin.
Yeah, and that's too bad for Austin because they were on the move, and it was good to see the counter move, almost as if, okay, they're starting to get that feeling back, that momentum back. And we hope that this doesn't hurt them in that aspect because we want to see good rugby. We want to see a good game here between two teams.
35-7 our score in favor of the Austin Blacks.
And it looks like when we come back into play, it appears as if the Blacks are going to attempt the post. They are.
Well, besides the first penalty attempt in the first half of play for Grand Prairie, we haven't seen one since. This is just the second time we will see this in this contest, and the first time that Austin's going to kick for points off of the penalty. And that's because their normal kick taker has been removed from this contest due to sustaining a hit in Pat Sullivan. And that will leave Charles Davidson, who did convert a kick from about this distance and similar angle on the last try, will be up to convert this conversion, or at least attempt to.
Well, all right. Let's see how he does it here.
And you can see that Grand Prairie, if it's short, they are ready to respond.
They sure are. Look at that. Their positioning perfectly made.
No.
And the kick is no good. That leaves the score at 36-7 in favor of the Austin Blacks. Then we're going to have a 22 drop by Grand Prairie.
Still can't get over these high visibility rugby balls. This is a first for me to see one live. So definitely can't miss it with that yellow.
No,
and
we
orange.
can't. Absolutely, we can't miss these.
All right, so that's coming from 22.
Not a bad kick.
Fielded cleanly.
Good drop kick right there.
And the Austin Blacks go right back to work. They take about 4 going into the rock.
Look at that. They got about almost. Oh, look at that.
He didn't
Driving
release.
right through. Didn't release.
They're going to say that he was brought down. He was pinned. He needed to have released the ball to continue advancing the ball before he picked it up.
Well, that's a little advantageous there for Grand Prairie. Let's take a look and see what they do. They're going to kick the touch, try to get some field positioning here for their advantage.
And they're kind of in an odd spot, though, right in the middle of the pitch. Do you try to go for the far side, or do you try to come to the near side? You want to get it into touch, that's for sure. They'll go far side. They don't get to advance it too much, but you should get them past the halfway mark. You just mentioned
And
36
the AR
seconds.
Joseph Monk, he raises the flag, and we see the point. And okay, let's see what Grand Prairie does here.
Lots of movement on the line
Oh,
out.
the Blacks got it. Let's see what the referee says. Up, yeah, free kick. Hey, this is our first free kick for the day.
That is true. It's the very first free kick of the day, late, about midway here in the second half of
Lifting
play.
early.
Taken on the run. Looking to get their second score out of a similar situation here today for
Trying to
Grand
get a
Prairie.
good crash there.
It's able to kind of get through some of the cracks. Little end around.
Yeah, that was a great scissor right there. Unfortunately, didn't get much positioning on that. He only made it about a meter right there.
No, he was met hard in the whole spear, trying to continue his way through. Ruck has formed. Picked up, sent out by Saint-Amant.
And look at that. The Blacks defense is just coming up.
Yeah, there was nowhere to go.
Man.
I don't know how the ball ended back up in his hands as it took an odd ricochet off of the kick. But Grand Prairie
fortunately still has it.
still with possession.
God, Black defense. Look at that. I mean, they're staying flat. They're coming up strong. They're nominating who they're covering. And they got the ball.
And it was tapped down by Davidson on the pass attempt, so they were able to poach this ball free, are the Austin Blacks, sending Grand Prairie on the chase.
Oh, it doesn't go
And
to
it
touch.
hands
Boyd
up
has it.
to Justin
Oh,
Boyd's
I didn't know
hand,
what was gonna
and you
happen.
already knew there was no doubt about it. No chance for the Mavericks as he's able to cut right through the reaching grasp of Mavericks defenders as Justin Boyd scores another try for the Austin Blacks.
Boy, I tell you, when Grand Prairie was trying to get the ball, it looked as if they saw the ball was going to go to touch. It didn't. They were just seeing, okay, let's get the ball, and then boom, it just went against them. And once it got into Boyd's hands, it was done.
There goes that man again. Just so fast. And just in a blink of an instant, he just has that elite speed, that extra burst. They talk about that sixth gear, so to speak. He definitely has that. He shifted it right into overdrive. Makes it look so casual, too.
And you know, this is the first conversion attempt under post.
Yeah, Justin Boyd leaving it in a rather prime spot. Doesn't even need the tee for this one. And on the drop, it is good. That scoreline will bump up an extra 2 points. 43-7, our scoreline. So the second half try scored by Grand Prairie has met its response thanks to the Justin Boyd try for Austin Blacks. Here from Boswell High School at Pioneer Stadium. On what turned out to be a bright and sunny day despite the
Oh, the weather forecast. Yeah. We were expecting almost hurricane winds a few days ago.
Yeah, and I know there were parts of Texas that did suffer under some drought, a lot of flooding.
Man, look at that. Okay, Black's got the ball. Kicking it downfield. Grand Prairie get it here. No. Oh, look at this.
Fielded off of the volley.
Outside.
Continues running toward the angle. He is brought down from behind.
Oh, look at that. Try-saving tackle right there.
Good help on the rock.
He is right on the goal line. Right there.
Oh. The fake and the touch. Nicely done by Miles Hernandez.
Hernandez got in there and it looked like he was going to pass it out, and he just saw that little opening as the Grand Prairie defense was sliding over to the right, and once he saw that opening, he took it.
Yeah, he went with the old school Larry Bird there, the no-look fake pass, kept it, fooled the defense, and just made the score. Fundamentals. That's what I love about this game. If you have the creativity, there's so much you can do with the ball in hand.
Well, you know what's interesting? You said Larry Bird, and most people don't know this, but it is rugby football that's not only the father of American football, but also basketball.
Yes.
In fact, the very first basketball was a Gilbert ball.
That is true. Not too many people know that. I thought I was the only one that knew the useless trivia.
Well, we knew. Have to make up your own Trivial Pursuit activities. It's fun to go to rugby and see what you can find.
Well, it's a game with a long lineage, plenty of history behind it, but it's one of those games that intersects with almost every other sport that has a ball and some contact involved in it. As that kick, again, good by Davidson. Maybe the Blacks will think about having him take the kicks from here regularly from here on out.
He's been doing pretty well. He sure has. Has he missed one?
No, he has
He
not.
hasn't missed one yet. But the Blacks are up 50-7 now over Grand Prairie.
So 5-0, 50-7. Our score line. Again, we thank you for joining us here. TRU YouTube channel, streaming live from Pioneer Stadium, Fort Worth, Texas, Boswell High School. As the Blacks have possession after the drop. And they might be looking just to kick this long. That's exactly what happens. Oh, and it takes a terrific bounce if you are a Austin Blacks fan. Oh, and maybe too good of a...
Yeah, too good of a bounce right off the backside.
That worked out well for Grand Prairie, though.
Sure did. Now we're going to move the ball all the way back up. That's very advantageous for Grand Prairie.
Question has always just been in this contest, what can they do with the field position? They have shown that they do have that scoring touch here in the second half of play, but again, that's not due to the lack of effort, But you do have to give credit to that Austin defense. You talked about the line, how they come hard off the line. The big thing for them also, they set the line very quickly. They are already spread out. It's really hard to get them on an overload.
Absolutely. That offensive set, the defensive set, they're doing everything by the book. Okay, so let's see what happens here. We have Grand Prairie feeding the ball in the scrum.
Lots
Wow,
of
look
experience.
at that push. Look at that Austin Black push.
Great.
Italy, Blacks collapsing.
Yeah, and that's been an issue for Grand Prairie today in those scrums. They just don't have the push. They got blown up off of the scrum there.
Yeah, and then they brought the scrum down, and now we have the penalty for the Blacks. Let's see what the Blacks are going to do here.
You know, but you have to admit, smart foul. Stop play. Don't allow the Blacks to get on a breakaway. Make them work for it.
And the ball's in. It does not go to touch.
And it works out well for Grand Prairie. Let's see how they can do on the return on the advance. Able to plow right through the two would-be tacklers. Shifts the move. Able to break another. And finally slung down to the ground.
The younger runner is going to really try to get through. He makes a pretty good movement there. Field advantage.
You might want
Moved
to...
up nicely. Look at this. Okay, let's see what we got here.
Oh,
Oh, man, that's too bad. Oh, recovered. Nice.
yeah, it went backward off of the big man's hand. So luckily possession still with Grand Prairie.
Yeah, no knock on right there. That's fantastic.
Driving right through the defense as he was able to find that crevice. Ball still with possession. Saint Amant for Grand Prairie, able to get it out wide. A little too tight on the positioning out there. As that almost killed the play, but there's an Austin Black player down.
All right.
And even I missed him as was following the ball as it was starting to advance towards the player who was down. That's Mark Brewerington. And
Okay, so we have official time off.
yeah, and that is tough to watch. You never want to see anybody come up hurt, but Brewerton, the New Zealander, the Kiwi, he is the wise sage of this squad for the Austin Blacks at 39 years old. Hopefully he'll be okay, but having to be helped off of the pitch. So a substitution being made for Austin Blacks. 50-70 our score in favor of the black-clad Austin side.
What's that? The black cloud now, the way their defense comes in. It's just, I guess, kind of almost like a Game of Thrones thing. Instead of the snowy cloud, the black cloud.
Well, they
Come
definitely
in,
cover
dominate,
everything.
Yeah.
And they come in, dominate defensively, score at will almost. It's been a good showing for Austin, that's for sure. Grand Prairie, though, not giving up without a fight, but the ball coming loose just when they had
the ball
possession.
came loose, knocked on. We're going to have a scrum. Blacks put in. Wow, I tell you what. Did you see that defense from the Blacks? I mean, they just stayed behind the ball as they should, and then as soon as it came out, the Blacks defense, he was right there. He was right on it.
Yeah, they've been in the grill of the Mavericks all day. And we had mentioned that they were searching for some answers during halftime, and they came back after the half and still haven't found many.
You know,
to
it's just
put the
that,
kibosh on the pursuit of that defense.
that's right. That's it. And the Blacks defense has just prevented what is normally a really good Grand Prairie offense down. Grand Prairie does know how to move the ball, but it's just that it's the stoutness of the defense from the Austin Blacks.
You talk about stout, they're not even moving an inch off of the scrum. It looked like Austin just decided to stop pushing. And now Justin Boyd with the offload. Still moving this ball through Comfort.
Back to Boyd there. Oh, hey, there it is. Grand Prairie has the ball now.
And it's intercepted by Garcia. And Davidson able to poach it right out of the ruck, though. Davidson running right through the tackler as he is pulled down to the ground from the shirt collar. The Blacks continue to just push this ball forward.
And they found that opening right there.
Comerford held up the offload. Spins off the would-be tackler. Gets it into the hands of Goss. There's the ruck. It's now formed just about 5 meters out. Keeping it close with Pena, who is met near the try line. One more should do it, and it does.
And they got it. Up to 55 there. Brings the Blacks to 55 right now, so we're going to see how they do here on the conversion.
Yeah, 55-7, Michael Taylor scoring that try for Austin Blackson. He's just been everywhere on the pitch today, has Taylor going from side to side.
Well, you know, it's that awesome ball movement and support play. The Blacks are just supporting each other so well. They're giving the ball runners so many different options for who to pass off to. And no matter what Grand Prairie was setting up on defense, the Blacks were supporting enough to where it didn't matter what Grand Prairie was giving them. The Blacks were going to score.
And as we wait for this conversion, you can hear the screams from the Austin Blacks saying, "I can go all day." And at this pace, it really does seem like they can do just that. They have done really, looks like they can do no wrong in this matchup, besides the one try they had let up, and give credit to the effort that has been shown by this Grand Prairie side, but it's just too much precision and great execution from the Blacks that has really showed itself in the scoreline.
And it's good.
And Davidson again.
57-7.
Let that man take every kick, and that, my friends, will do it here for us. 57-7. Before we sign off with this first match, Larry, let me ask you your thoughts on the game. I know the scoreline a little lopsided, but what did the Blacks do that led to this scoreline?
Well, ultimately, it's the Blacks' experience that won for them. Okay, their defense followed the threefold operation of defense, which is they were flat, they nominated who they were going to get, and then they attacked on defense. And that essentially just shut down Grand Prairie's ability to move the ball. And we saw that so easily. And then when Grand Prairie did get the ball for any knock-ons, fouls, whatever it was, ball dropping, or it was just a turnover, the natural fallback into defense by the Blacks really did it for them. And so I'm going to give the Blacks the credit on the defense. But it was also their ability to get into the right position, read the field very well of what Grand Prairie was doing, and just have some superb athletes who, most of all, work well together. And they know each other well enough to where they know the positioning of the support play. Their support play was fantastic, and that's how they got that last try.
Well, those are some fantastic words there, Larry. That's going to do it for our first game. We're going to kick it over to our second game here in the next few moments or so. So for everybody involved in this broadcast, our friends from Nutmeg Sports Media for bringing you this sights and sounds of the game, our friends over at the Fort Worth ISD for allowing us to use Pioneer Stadium and Paul R. Jacobs Field, and for my friend Larry Monks for joining me on the broadcast today. I'm Smash Justin Simmons, and we will see you for the next game in just a few moments.
Nice work, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks.